Alright, now we're playing with the Ouija. Are you playing again or not? Are there any spirits?
Were you murdered?
You've been told Tarot and Ouija are just games, a spooky distraction for sleepovers, a cheap ticket to the great beyond. But the truth is darker. These tools weren't made for fun. They were built to split your mind open, to pry into the cracks of your subconscious and let whatever you've buried deep inside crawl its way out. What if the demons you fear don't live in graveyards or shadows at all? What if they've been rotting in the corners of your own mind, silent until you hand them a voice? Tarot, Ouija, ritual. They were never just games. They were psychological traps, engineered to bypass your defenses and drag your fears, your rage, your madness into the light. And once those things rise, they don't always go back in. I'm Saint Ilyas. Welcome back. Let's walk once more into the places the light was never meant to reach. Still think these games are harmless? The nightmare has already been shown to us again. You know the story, you know the movie, The Exorcist. If you're still watching, you already know this isn't just a story. It's a warning. Subscribe now and step deeper into the shadows with me, but the board is only one mask the ritual wears. Cards can cut just as deep, if you know how to look at them. Tarot. Tarot, mirrors that cut deep. At first glance, tarot looks harmless. Just paper cards with pretty drawings, suns, moons, towers, fools. But the longer you look, the more those pictures stop being symbols and start feeling like mirrors. They show you things you don't always want to see. Tarot wasn't born as a mystical tool. In the 15th century, it was just a card game in Europe, something like bridge. The fortune-telling came later, when people began reading meaning into the images. The cards became a map of the human condition: death, desire, temptation, loss. Every spread lays those archetypes out in front of you. Psychologists like Carl Jung called them archetypes, universal patterns buried in all of us. But to believers, the cards are more than psychology. They're keyholes into fate itself, and when you lay them down, it can feel less like chance and more like the universe rearranging itself just to speak. That's where the danger starts. A bad reading can plant a thought that takes root, twisting your choices without you realizing. People talk about tarot curses, not because the cards hold power, but because belief does. If the cards whisper doom, some part of you may start to live it out. The scariest thing isn't that the cards might tell your future, it's that they might convince you to write it yourself. Ouija, the talking board that talks back. The Ouija board wasn't invented to terrify. Patented in 1891 as a parlour novelty, it sat on shelves beside dominoes and checkers. A wooden board marked with letters and numbers. A small planchette that glides across the surface. A toy, or so it seemed. Skeptics call it the ideomotor effect, the tiny, unconscious movements your muscles make without you realizing. You think something else is guiding your hand, but it's really you. Or maybe it's the part of you you'd rather not acknowledge, the part that answers questions you never meant to ask out loud. But the history of Ouija doesn't stop at psychology. There are stories, plenty of them, about sessions that spiraled. Families who swore their homes changed after one night with the board. Groups of friends who asked for a sign and got more than they bargained for. Sometimes it was obsession, sometimes it was tragedy. The board has a way of making people believe they're not alone. And belief is enough. Once you're convinced something's answering back, it doesn't matter if it's a ghost, a trick of the nerves, or the darkest part of your own mind clawing its way to the surface. You think you're speaking with the dead. Maybe you're just hearing from the parts of yourself you've tried to bury. But boards and cards are only fragments of something older rituals that were never disguised as games at all. Rituals, the theatre of belief. Rituals are older than any board or deck. Long before tarot or Ouija, people stood in circles, lit fires, spilled blood, and whispered names they weren't supposed to say. Some of it was worship, some was protection, and some was defiance, an attempt to reach across the veil and drag something back. On the surface, a ritual looks like theatre. The candles, the chanting, the drawn symbols, they feel like props. But ritual isn't about props, it's about focus. When a group of people believe together, breathe together, move together, their minds shift. They enter a state where the ordinary rules of thought and body begin to blur. Some rituals protect, meant to seal the door. Others are meant to blow it wide open. In initiations, the goal is often to destroy the old self so a new one can be born. But every so often, people lose more than they bargained for. They don't come back as themselves. The danger of ritual isn't that it always summons something external. It's that it dismantles the walls inside you, the ones that keep your fears contained, your anger buried, your grief locked down. When those things rise, they don't always want to go back in. Where they converge. Tarot, Ouija, ritual. They look different, but they work the same way. They create a doorway. Sometimes it feels like you're knocking on the other side, asking if anyone's there. Other times it feels like you're letting something inside yourself out into the room. Psychologists might call it suggestion, belief, or subconscious release. Folklorists call it magic. But either way, the result is real. People change. They fixate. They fear. Some spiral into obsession. Others claim to feel lighter, as if a weight has been lifted. Both are forms of transformation, and transformation is never free. That's why cultures everywhere warn against these things, not because the tools themselves are dangerous, but because of what they unlock. A deck of cards becomes a mirror you can't turn away from. A board becomes a voice that won't stop speaking. A ritual becomes a performance you don't remember agreeing to finish. Whether it's spirits or psychology doesn't matter. Once the door is open, something always comes through. The warnings that never change. Wherever you find tarot, Ouija, or ritual, you'll also find rules, half-whispered, half-serious warnings passed from one generation to the next. Don't play alone. Don't ask when you'll die. Don't break the circle. Most people treat them like ghost stories, but when you look closer, these warnings aren't random. They're survival codes. Psychologists will tell you the mind needs rules when stepping into the unknown. Boundaries keep fear contained. Without them, the imagination runs wild. A flickering candle in a ritual feels like proof. A tarot card pulled at the wrong time feels like a curse. A planchette sliding across the board feels like a ghost gripping your hand. The warnings, never play past midnight, never when angry, always close the session, aren't about protecting you from spirits. They're about protecting you from yourself. But folklore suggests something more. In Haitian Vodou, spirits are dismissed as carefully as they're summoned. Songs sung in reverse. Food offerings burned or buried, spaces ritually cleansed. Leaving a door half open, practitioners say, is asking for trouble. In European folk magic, charms and cards were destroyed after use, burned, buried at crossroads. In Japanese ghost lore, rules exist: don't look back when leaving a haunted place. Don't answer if your name is called at night. Different cultures, different practices, but the same instinct. Unfinished business invites danger. And then there are the rules written in lived experience. Spiritualists in the late 19th century, when Ouija boards swept through American parlors, warned newcomers never to keep using the same board after a frightening session. Families who ignored that advice often reported escalating disturbances, knocks on the walls, whispers, objects moving in the night. Whether that was spirits or suggestion didn't matter. The fear became self-fulfilling. Even now in the digital age, the warnings haven't disappeared. They've just migrated online. TikTok seances, YouTube 3 a.m. challenges, Discord groups coordinating tarot pulls across time zones. The same rules echo there too. Don't record what happens, don't watch alone, don't invite the spirit twice. Creepypasta has spun these warnings into new forms. Cursed phone numbers, forbidden games like Midnight Man or the elevator game all follow the same pattern. Step 1. Follow the instructions exactly. Step 2. Never break the rules. Step 3. If you survive, close the ritual properly. Different medium, same bones. And here's the unsettling part. Whether you believe in spirits or not, the consequences are real. Psychologists studying paranormal play note that people who break these taboos spiral more often into paranoia, insomnia, obsession. If you believe you didn't say goodbye to the board or you left the ritual unfinished, your own mind keeps the door open. Every creak in the house, every shadow in the corner becomes a reminder. The ritual doesn't end because you can't convince yourself it ended. The warnings endure for one reason. Once the mind crosses a line, it rarely returns the same. People understood this long before psychology gave it a name. So, the rules survived, written not in books but in whispers, because everyone who played with these tools eventually came to the same conclusion. Some doors should never be opened, and if you insist on opening them, you'd better know how to close them. If this pulled you deeper into the dark, subscribe now, because the next secret I reveal might be the one you can't forget. Saint Ilyas, signing off. Until we meet again, keep your candles close. The dark is listening.